Hey, welcome back, y'all. So today we're going to go into CSS and I'm going to show you the power it truly has. Check this out. All right, so in one of the last videos I made, we talked about video cards and building templates and then going into the main app TSX file and then running it on a local host. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can take that data and then have those cards customized within CSS. We have actual formatting applied to it. So here we are in our CSS file. And as you can see, this is where it resides in the source folder. And we're just going to start from the ground up. And I'm going to show you every little detail on what each thing means. So the first thing we're going to do is define our first container. So this is going to be video, card. And then everything that you do here is going to be initialized by a period. And then if you have more than one word, this can be a dash, and everything's going to be lowercase as well. You're going to open it up with a curly bracket and you're going to press enter. And it's automatically going to indent, and it's going to show you some IntelliSense if you have IntelliSense within your VS Code or another id that you have. And it's going to allow you to see some things that you can just automatically pop into there. But we're going to customize it a specific way, and I'm going to show you what each thing means as I move along it. So the first thing we're going to do is background color. We're going to tab that. We're going to say white. We're going to go to the next one, and we're going to say border. We're going to say 1px solid. We're going to put a custom hash on the color that we want. And this is going to be this color of white. And we want to ensure that each line ends with a semicolon as well. The next one is border radius. I'm going to press tab on that, but I'm going to do 12. Okay, so I forgot to mention the border is going to be one solid line here, and it's going to be white. The border radius is going to be 12. So that's going to be soft edges at 12 points. The next up we have is box shadow. And this one you can do a lot here. So we're going to say 0, 4px, 6px, RGBA, 0, 0, 0.05. We're going to close that. We're going to put a semicolon. We're going to go to the next line. So this one here is basically saying for the first 0 that the shadow doesn't move left or right. The 4px is saying the shadow moves 4 points down. So there's a vertical offset there. Then 6 means the shadow is blurred by 6 points. So it adds softness to the shadow. So RGBA is next. So RGBA stands for red, green, blue, alpha. So here we have 0, 0, 0. That means black. And then the alpha is going to be the opacity. So it's going to be 5% opacity. And this allows subtle shadows. The next thing we're going to do is padding. So we're going to do padding at 24 points. So we're just going to type that in here. We're going to do 24 point padding. And this is going to be all around padding. Allows the content within the card to be evenly symmetrical around all sides. The next is going to be max width. So how big do we want the card to be? So the wide. And then we're going to say 400 points. All right. And then we're going to say font family. So what font family do we exactly want to see here? So we're going to say the first one, nothing too crazy here. And the next one we're going to say is transition. And that's going to be transform 0.2 ease. And press that. All right. And that basically means that when we click on it, it's just going to do a certain action. So we haven't specified what the action is yet, though. So we'll get to that. And then we'll close that up. And that'll be our first section of our card. And now we want to do a video card hover. So when we click on it and do the transform, what does that actually mean? So this is taking this, right, and now plugging it into this transform block. So we're going to say video card hover. So we are just going to do exactly what it's saying here. And this is going to be another item that occurs after the video card. So you have things that go in sequence, right? So you have video card here and then hover when you actually hover over it. So we're going to have transform. We're going to say translate y -5 points. And that basically means as you hover over it, it's going to move the item up just 5 points. Then we're going to do box shadow one more time. And this is going to be, once again, as you hover over it, what's going to occur, right? So here we're going to say 0, then 10px, then 15px, then RGBA, We're going to say 0, 0, 0, 0.1. And same thing like the last one, it's just going to be a little black shadow that comes in there. And then now we're going to do card title. That's going to be our container name here. And we're going to call this font size 1.5 REM. So rem here means relative unit, right? So basically it's best for flexibility, right? So as you're moving through and changing the dimension of your page, it allows for changing of that item. So this is technically going to be like 24 points, but as you're changing the dimension of your web page, this will be able to adjust with it as well. Here we're going to put color. That's going to be 333. And then that's just going to be dark gray. We're going to put margin. And they could have a bunch of different margins here. We're going to put margin top. We're going to say 0. Then we're going to move on to the next one. We're going to say card status. We're going to open up that container too. And that's going to be the font weight. We're going to make that bold. I think that's self-explanatory there. The text transform. So we could change the text to transform. And we're going to say uppercase. And then we're going to say letter spacing. We're going to say 1px. And once you change things to uppercasing, you usually have some weird merge that happens between them. So this just allows for good spacing. All right. So just to summarize, we have a video card. That's going to be our basic elements within our card itself, right? Once we hover over it, we're going to see a shadow. We're going to see something move a little bit. And then we're going to see the card title. So the card title is going to be this exact format here and the status, right? So we're not going to add anything else. And now what we want to do is make sure that this CSS file gets rolled into our TSX file simply and easily and efficiently, right? So we have to make sure that this is referenced within it as well. So the first thing you want to do is type in import, and we're just going to reference exactly what it is. So app CSS, right? And we're going to say export default function app, right? And now we're going to exactly specify how do we want to return things. So the class names and in the format that we want them in. Okay, so we have this styling already built out within CSS, but we don't have the actual structure and the parent-child hierarchy. We have all the different code written here, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to specify exactly where it's going to be placed within the web page. So that's where the TSX file comes in. So we're going to say return here. And now we're going to specify that. Because the first thing we're going to do is open up our parentheses. And then we're going to open up our div. We're going to close that. We're going to open up another one. So that's going to be our parent hierarchy there. Okay, we're going to open up another one. So this can be our child now. And I'm going to actually close this up so I don't see all these red lines anymore. And then we're going to say class name here equals video card. So what we did here so far was we wrote our first divs, which everything is going to live inside of it. And this is going to be our parent hierarchy. And then we're going to see our class name first. So that's going to be our first class we introduced, which is video card. I did also add the card stat here. But our video cards be initial formatting that we have here. Now we're going to introduce H1. This is going to be class name as well. This is going to be video title. And we can call this whatever we want, but we're just going to call it Learning React. And we're going to close that up, and we're going to go to the next line. And now this is going to be a paragraph. Class name, once again, we're going to say card stat this time. I'm going to say 1500. And we're going to close up the paragraph. We're going to open up another paragraph too. We're going to say class name equals card status. We're going to say published. We're going to make sure our double quotations are closed off too, so everything reads properly. And then we're going to have our division here set up, closing off this section for the class name video card and all of its components within it. Then we're going to go to another one and make another class name for another card that we're making. So this is the first card, and then this is another card, right? So we're going to make a card name here. And we're just going to press tab so we can see everything pop up. And then we have our video cards listed out properly. So this essentially takes everything that we had, for card status, for example. We have card status here for fonts can be bold, uppercase, letter spacing is going to be 1. And that value, that text value is going to be published in there and draft in there as well. And same thing for the other ones, right? So we're providing that value. And then the card itself is going to be this. This can be the entire construct of the card itself because there's no content there, but it's going to retain the shadow, the padding, just the general format of where the text will sit at. All right, so once we're done with that, we can go ahead and click on save. And now I'm going to open up my local host. And now when we look at it, this is exactly what we see. So you saw how when I clicked on it, you can see that it moves up a little bit. There's a little shadow behind it now, right? There's a little shadow you can see for it right now as it is. It's not that dark, right? We can also make this smaller because the padding is pretty wide too. But then this is just generally how you can do things in CSS, right? You got the border, you got the heading, you got the values here. But this is where CSS becomes truly powerful for you because you can do so much within it. All right, with that said, hopefully you learned some things within CSS. You can also write your comments within it so you can see exactly what each thing is doing above each component so that you don't have to go in and sit there and try to read it and understand it. But as you build more within CSS and TypeScript, you're going to learn what they are over time as well. But as always, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts, and thanks for watching.